Well, tonight I'm going to tell you a story. And to help you better understand the story, I want to go back to January 15th. On that day, Captain Sully Sullenberger landed his aircraft in the Hudson River in what many people called the Miracle on the Hudson that saved their lives and the lives of the 150 passengers. Captain Sullenberger and his crew have received well-deserved accolades from New York to California to the Super Bowl in Miami. But tonight, I want to focus on another miracle, an even bigger miracle that saved even more lives 2.5 years ago, right here in Greensburg. This 50 years of good science, of technological development, was all in place on Friday, May 4th, 2007. Weather-wise, it started out as a pretty ordinary day. Union Pacific sent a freight train through at about 45-minute intervals. There were a few towering cumulus clouds throughout the day, but nothing too ominous. But meteorologists knew it was not an ordinary day. And at 1 p.m., KWCH-TV, our client, sent its storm chasers to western Kansas. But at 6 o'clock, skies were still sunny here in Greensburg. There were a few towering cumulus clouds. There was a cluster of thunderstorms in Oklahoma to the south and a few cirrus clouds to the west. But at 10 minutes after 6, the Storm Prediction Center issued a tornado watch for northwest Oklahoma and southwest Kansas, including the Greensburg area. But over the next 45 minutes, things changed very, very quickly. Thunderstorms exploded in southwest Kansas. About 5 minutes later, the first funnel clouds were starting to be seen coming down from the wall cloud. And then, at 9:05, we got a report from Scott Robert Stormhawk of a funnel cloud southwest of Greensburg and to the west of Highway 183. And with the very, very last sliver of daylight, Lance Ferguson got this photograph of what would become the Greensburg tornado making its way to the ground. Our meteorologists saw the increasing rotation in the Doppler wind display. They saw the reports of the funnel cloud, and they realized that our client, Union Pacific Railroad, was in danger from the tornado. And normally, we are to give Union Pacific 20 minutes of advance warning. But in this particular case, they judged the threat was high enough that they wanted to give them extra warning, and here's what happened next.
UP 4307 west, over.
UP 4307 west, over.
Guys, don't get in too big of a hurry to go westbound. I got a tornado warning around 325, between 325 and milepost 342 until 2200, so about another 35 more minutes. I expect a little bit of a delay there at Wellsford, over.
I'd understand you got tornado warnings from milepost 325 to milepost 342. Be up in about 35 minutes. We'll just slow roll, over.
All right, guys, I appreciate that. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, sir. UP 4307 west now.
Union Pacific would end up stopping 4 trains, keeping them out of the path of the tornado. At 9:19, the National Weather Service in Dodge City issued its tornado warning. The tornado siren here in Greensburg was activated, and at the risk of burning out the siren, the decision was made not to just sound the siren for 5 minutes, but to leave it on continuously. At the same time, the hook echo on radar and the Doppler signature was getting more and more dramatic. This photograph from 9:25. And at 9:30, KWCH-TV went to continuous coverage the beginning of what would end up being 22 hours of commercial-free coverage of the weather events in Kansas. Because at 9:30, as the tornado crossed US 183, the differential winds, as measured by Doppler radar, were at 200 miles an hour, the strongest signature ever recorded on one of the WSR 88Ds, and that wasn't the strongest it was going to get. It was still strengthening. This is a photograph taken along 183 at the same time. Moments after this photograph was taken, the telephone poles on the west side of the highway blew over. At 10:35, they would have heard something like this. And in about 2 minutes, it was over. When the sun came up, Greensburg was gone. Everyone's worst fears were realized. The city would never look the same. And I can imagine, as you all walked around that morning, the utter, total devastation. You said to yourselves, my gosh, how do we ever recover from this? The Wichita Eagle Sunday paper had a one-word headline, devastated. And certainly that was accurate. But I would contend that a better one-word headline would have been miracle. When I was little, my grandmother used to say, where there's life, there's hope. And considering the number of lives that were saved by the storm warning system here in Greensburg, perhaps we gave you the hope needed to create the vision of a green community and to bring this town back better than ever. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.